We're going to start the concert band part of the show with a piece called Santa Meets Sousa. I like to imagine if John Philip Sousa, the famous march composer, if Santa Claus had been leaning over his shoulder as he wrote some of his most famous marches. Santa Meets Sousa. We're removing our Santa hats because just like from the fall concert, a lot of these pieces we're preparing for our performance at the Indiana Music Educators Convention up in Fort Wayne in January. So actually the next three pieces are pieces that we're preparing for that, more serious band repertoire. We'll get back to the holiday stuff at the very end. Before we move on to our next piece, back in November we had 13 members of this band were accepted and performed with the Indiana All-Region Honor Band. That's the top middle school band musicians from our little corner of the state. If you'd please stand. Stand when I call your name for All-Region. Please hold your applause until the end. On flute, Jaden Bowers and Skylar McCall. Oboe, Elizabeth Floyd. Clarinet, Josh Vogel and Leah Frazier. French horn, Clayton Boyles. Alto sax, Jacob Ernst, Daniel Hodges, and Clark Rockhill. Trumpet, Connor Bassett and Parker Totten. Euphonium, Reagan Schmidt. And tuba, Grayson Lang, our all-region honor band participants. The piece we're going to perform is entitled To Create a Voice. It's a brand new piece written for band. We wanted to pick something that was brand new, that had just been written. It's actually in memory of a dear friend of the composer who was a music educator themselves. And to create a voice is, as band directors, we're creating voices, not from their throat, but on their instrument. And if you listen very carefully, this beautiful chorale at the beginning, there's a euphonium solo that, if you listen carefully, actually plays the first three notes that most musicians learn. Do, re, mi. Okay? You'll hear that in the euphonium. You hear those three notes. And then later on, a little tongue-in-cheek, of course, when you learn those three notes, if you reverse them, you can play hot cross buns, hot cross buns. So this very complex piece for middle school band includes one of the simplest tunes, To Create a Voice. I should also add that these pieces are very complex. Of course, our end goal is Saturday, January 19th. So just as at the fall concert, they're still kind of works in progress. Usually the stuff we play on the concert is the final result. Concert's over, we pass that music in and move on to other stuff. But these are works in progress. Wanted to get them in front of an audience, just where they are, to get that little adrenaline boost with an audience there to push us to the next level. Before we play our next piece, as well as All Region Honor Band, we have some students that auditioned for and were accepted into the Junior All-State Band, which is very select. That's a band of about 90 students, the top middle school, or actually 7th, 8th, and 9th grade musicians in the entire state of Indiana. So I'm going to recognize our all-state members now, and you may clap for each one of them because this is quite an honor. On clarinet, Leah Frazier. Alto saxophone, Clark Rockhill. Alto saxophone, Jacob Ernst. Tuba, Grayson Lang. Trombone, Reagan Schmidt. And from the intermediate band, on bassoon, Isaac Morgan. These students, well, the Junior All-State also performs at the Indiana Music Educators Convention on the exact same day that we perform. In fact, they play at 1:30, we play at 3:30. So they're gonna have quite a workout this weekend. Very proud of all of our students. Next piece we're gonna play, we're doing at IMEA. We're doing all of this serious band music. We thought it'd be good to have a piece that's challenging, but a little more fun, maybe a little more pop style. The next piece is entitled Danny Elfman, Music in the Dark. It includes music from The Nightmare Before Christmas, the beautiful ending music from Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, and the finale to Spider-Man. Danny Elfman, Music in the Dark.
Okay, we're going to be continuing on with our symphony that we started in the fall concert. This piece is, the symphony is made up of 4 separate songs, each called movements. We're going to be playing them out of order. We played movements 3 and 4, and now we're going to be playing 2 and 1. When we get to the end of movement 2, you'll understand why we didn't end with it. It doesn't really end, it goes directly into the next movement. Andy Boysen, the composer, is going to do Skype with the students and give us a chance to actually hear what the composer thinks about. That's one of the great things about band music, is most of our composers are still alive. It's hard to go to Mozart and ask him for any suggestions at this time, but we can go to Andy Boysen to get this. Something that we've got added, we had the E-flat contrabass clarinet, this big piece of furniture that Madeline is holding over here. Ainsley, could you play a few notes on the B-flat? This is our regular bass clarinet. Nice slow voice. Now this is what those same notes sound like on the contrabass clarinet. Let her warm up for just a second. Go ahead and play. I'll play the real low notes. Isn't that an awesome sound? There aren't too many 8th grade E-flat contrabass clarinet players in the state. This piece we're doing has interesting things. It's got some solos that have to actually make up rhythms. They have, like, instead of music, they have a drawing of music. You're going to hear some things from this side of the room where they sound almost like people murmuring. They have a little box that has dots in it to play it instead of actual written notes. They've got to have freedom. So trumpet solo does the same thing. The opening of the first movement has special things that the percussion do, including vibrato on the bells. Could you play a note, Foster? Just play a note without doing vibrato. And what he's going to do is he's going to hit that note and he's going to wave his hand like this, and it's going to make it wobble and sound a little bit different. Can you hear it? It's very subtle, but these are the things they're doing that this piece asks them to do some more advanced techniques. And the entire piece is about 14 minutes long, so you've got to stay focused for a long, long period of time. So these are going to be our next 2 movements of the symphony, movement 2, and it's kind of a little waltz. It's very unusual. And movement 1 kind of goes to the exciting. You're going to hear him sing all these neat things. So this is Andrew Boysen Jr. Symphony number 4. Also, I mentioned percussion. They've got a lot of things that they do on there. Great job, percussion. Our final piece is the classic poem, "'Twas a Night Before Christmas," featuring our narrator, Master Bill Thomas.
Oh, wait. One second. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. The most important thing. creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When, out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. What to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. Stop. All your little musical things have made perfect sense up to this point, but your cue line is Saint Nick, and you give me Tarara Boomdier? I don't get it. Perfect, thank you. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. Dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry, his droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all